James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, said that if we make ourselves even 1% better every day, that we will have a compounding effect and make ourselves exponentially better over time. Does this work with weight loss surgery? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Hello, and welcome to Book of Erica. This is the place to go to find out about all things bariatric surgery, pre-op, post-op, and life after complications. My name is Erica. I am a nearly 12-year veteran of the gastric bypass surgery. I'm not a medical professional, but I am a patient with lots of experience, and I want to share that with you so that you can go into your situation knowing a little bit more than I knew going into mine. If that sounds like information that might be interesting to you, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you know whenever I make a new video. And let's get to this. So we've been talking about the steps that you can take as a pre-op to set you up for success after surgery if you're considering weight loss surgery. If you haven't gotten a list of those, there is a link in the description box where you can have that emailed to you. That way you can kind of follow along. It gives a brief synopsis of each. But, okay, so we've been through number 1, which was the multivitamin, and number 2, which was protein. But now we're on to number 3. And number 3 is all about building those healthy habits that are going to set you up for success later. And if you start those now, it's not as much of a culture shock later. Habits are the key to your post-op success. Big change is coming. So if you can build those habits now, and it can be part of a routine that doesn't have to change, you're going to be that much better off. Okay, so how to build a new habit. The research is all over the charts. Some places say that it's going to take 3 weeks. Some places say it's going to take longer than 3 weeks. I generally give myself a month to dedicate to one specific habit if I'm wanting to build it. I highly recommend some type of a habit tracker. You all have seen this one before in my weight loss after regain updates. I make one for myself that I track all of my information in. Just to give you an idea of what one looks like that's not filled out, I usually make it like that, where I've got my days of the week and whatever habits I want to track, and I'll just check them off as I go. It gives me a nice visual representation of whether or not I've done that during the time that I need to. Highly recommend this. I have also made one that is now available on Amazon. I will try to throw it up on the screen so that you can kind of see. I am not a graphic designer, so the cover is not the prettiest, but the inside of it is going to help you track your vitamins, your protein, your food intake, your exercise. It's kind of basic, but basic is all that I need. And ultimately I made this for myself, but I did send it to Amazon to see if they would publish it for you guys if you wanted it. It is there. I'll throw a link to it in the description box. That way if you want it, you can grab it. But find something. It doesn't have to be mine. You can make one in a dot grid journal just like I did. You can make one in Excel and just check mark it off. Whatever works for you, just make sure that you put something together so that you can track whatever habit you need to build. Okay, so the biggest benefit to doing this now as opposed to doing it after surgery is that the surgery itself is going to be traumatic. Your body's in trauma, your brain is in trauma, and there are just not words to describe how different your life will be before surgery and after surgery. No words for it. So to lessen the transition and make it not such a shock, begin those habits now. That way you can carry them forward. Also, having depression after weight loss surgery is a real thing. One of my friends had it terrible right after surgery. And the more things that you can do to give yourself some continuity and to make yourself feel more accomplished and like things are going well, the better off you're going to be and the less likely you're going to be to fall into that dark headspace that can happen. So, what are some examples of what kind of habits you can start to develop now that are going to carry you through after surgery? Some of these you've heard of before. Parking further away from your building, starting a gratitude journal to keep your headspace right. One of my favorites and what still works for me is to start meal planning and finding recipes that can still give you food that you love and give your family food that they love, but it's still bariatric friendly for you. Those are always going to be good. Crock pots, freezer meals. Those things are awesome, and if you can get in the habit of doing that now, you can set yourself up for success after surgery. Over time, you're going to learn what works best for you and your family and the time constraints that you guys have. And if you can start that stuff now, you're going to just be in that much better of a position later. And number 1, stop keeping snack food in your house. Now, I know that can be a huge source of contention for the family, but they need to understand that you are battling a disease. Obesity is a disease, and if the food is there, odds are you're going to eat it, whether it's good for you or not. And in reality, a lot of junk food will make you sick after you have surgery. So instead of, like, take for instance the little 100-calorie packs of the fudge graham cookies or whatever. I used to love those, but couldn't have them right after surgery. So instead of going right up until surgery eating a pack a day or 3 packs a day or whatever it was, and then suddenly I can't have them anymore, you just, you go from 3 packs a day to 2 packs a day, and then to 1 pack a day, and then to none. And you have weaned that out of your life, and then you don't buy those anymore. You stop the mindless grazing. It's a win-win all the way around. It's going to help you in your pre-op diet. So that one's a good one. Now, some that you probably have not thought of before, try swapping out your meals from 3 large ones to 6 small ones a day. That will make a tremendous difference for you, because post-operatively, that's what you're supposed to have. So if you can make that transition now, you're going to be that much better off. Sounds simple enough, right? Also, start your supplements now. I know we talked about that in the multivitamin pre-op step 1, but there are more things that you can start now that are going to set you up for better stuff later, like vitamin C, vitamin D. There are lots of extra things that you could just work into your repertoire, getting your calcium going. In fact, if you're interested in calcium, I have 2 other videos that I made recently that you might want to check out. One where I compare 2 calciums, and one where I just talk about why it's important. But I'll link those up in the cards. And lastly, and this is probably one of the most important, you need to work on your boundaries. People are going to be terrible about what they tell you can and cannot do after surgery. And these are people who've never had weight loss surgery. They don't know anything about it. Should you really be eating that? Are you sure that's okay? You're starting to look sick. Haven't you stopped losing weight yet? People can be cruel in the way that they come across things. And we, a lot of times, have boundary issues. So I highly recommend, there's a book called Boundaries. It's by Dr. Henry Cloud, I believe. I'm going to find a picture of it and stick it on the screen somewhere. But I highly recommend that book. It has been life-changing for me. So I would start working on that stuff now. I know that they send you for a psych evaluation. Mine was a joke. I don't know what yours was like, but mine was a complete joke. I highly recommend talking to a counselor or somebody who can help you through some of that stuff. But that book will get you a long, long way. Now, all of these small changes can make a tremendous difference in how well you do after the surgery. So you can start this today. You can do this. You can start walking. You can start lifting weights. You can park further away from a building. You can eat smaller portions. You can do it. I promise. Even before surgery, you've got this. And then later on, it'll be that much easier. So I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me. If you're enjoying this series, give it a thumbs up and join me next week as we move on to the next step in the process. If you don't have that list and would like me to email it to you, there is a link in the description box below. And my question of the day is there anything that you're concerned about missing after surgery that you expect that you won't be able to have? Throw that in the comment box below. I'm curious what yours is. Mine was Dr. Pepper. I was a Dr. Pepper fiend. To be completely honest, I don't miss it. Maybe sometimes if I catch a whiff of it, if somebody has ordered it in a restaurant and the smell goes past me. But as long as I don't smell it, I don't even know it's gone. I couldn't tell you now what it tastes like because it's been a decade. But anyway, I will talk to you all next week.